Welcome, Yannick. So happy that you're able to join us.
Thank you.
Um, I was really blown away by your film. I was watching it on a laptop and was thinking, oh, wow, I really can't wait to see this on the big screen because this is definitely a big screen film. Can
Mhm.
you just start out by telling us a little bit about yourself and your background, and then we'll kind of delve into the film itself.
My name is Yannick. I live in Switzerland. I was born here. Um, I did. I worked till I did 20 till I was 20. I worked in a psychiatry, and then I started to make to make my own films. I studied film in Lucerne, which is in Switzerland too. And yeah, since 12, 13 years, I do my own stuff mostly. Um, yeah, what else?
Great.
I'm also working like as a musician as well.
Delving into this film, there's so much there. It's just beautifully done, um, and I'm I kind of see it as a film that is looking at seeing through the human eye, but also seeing through the camera lens. And I was wondering if you could just tell us a little bit about, um, this about this being a film about seeing.
I think a lot of films I did are about like the act of seeing because I don't know exactly where it comes from, but since a kid I have this vision. I don't know if this is a vision, that I will get up. I will be blind at some point. I don't know where that comes from, but it's a bit better now. But it's a big fear that I have that I will get blind at some point, and sometimes when it's really scaring me out, I have some like things on my vision, and I go to a lot of eye doctors, but they can't help me with it. They just say it's a psychosomatic thing. So I think out of that fear, I work a lot with the idea of well, seeing and not seeing, losing orientation, um, and yeah, the camera lens as well because I work I work a lot with analog cameras, and sometimes there are errors as well. Like they also have some um,
Yeah.
problems with seeing, or also digital cameras have a lot of problems with capturing darker images, or yeah, it's a very oh, I look don't know the English word for that, a fragile tool that I use, and I try to find the errors in the cameras as well.
I think the what a filmmaker might consider flaws, you've put front and
Mm-hmm.
center, and I
Mm-hmm.
think that's very so effective because what I see is that you're going to a lot of extremes. You're putting the camera in these what would be especially for a digital camera, but also often with analog, um, extreme situation, extreme dark, where the camera has trouble discerning. But you've turned that into something
Mm-hmm.
quite beautiful. Often a very dark scene, and you just see these very subtle differences. So you seem to be playing a lot with those subtle differences between light and dark. And even some scenes where you're looking at the landscape and something looks dark, but then as the camera pulls out, what is first dark is actually becomes the lightest part of what you're seeing. So there's that interplay. And can you talk about that a little bit?
I think I started with this film. I started with it, but I did not know that I was making a film, because usually I go out, or I try to go out almost every day with a camera, and I'm just really interested in um, in what captures me, because sometimes I don't know it. Sometimes I'm feeling very good. I go out, and then I end up filming some trees for 2.5 hours. And someday I go out and I just like attracted. I'm just attracted to um, I don't know, buildings, whatever. I have a big archive of just footage where I don't know what to do with it. And then at some point I was going out, and I was not able to turn on the camera, or I recorded, but the image was just black. And I think that was a main inspiration somehow, that the camera did not work well. I just ended up with the sound, and the sound of myself. I heard myself like breathing and swearing because the camera does not work. And sometimes I think that was the beginning somehow of this film. And then I ended up filming every day, and making a lot of notes. And and I ended up with a lot of texts as well, where I tried to make sense out of it. Um,
Yeah, so it's set up almost like a diary. So you have dates and then little um, pieces of text that sometimes seem to correspond with what we're seeing, and sometimes they seem to be not corresponding with what we're seeing. Uh, can you tell me a little bit about the diary aspect of this?
since I started with working with film, maybe because I'm usually I'm coming from music. I ended up making my own music videos for my music, and I have a strong interest in improvisation, and which allow my films to develop and unfold during the process. So these mostly these are not like products that I design, or it's like journeys of discoveries, of coincidences, and like exploration. So I need I need these texts to edit the works. I need the texts to like when I watch the footage, like 1 month later, I need to read these texts and to realize why I did end up filming this. But what I realized was that it's that it would be like interesting to with these texts, not like to document the images. It should be uh, I need some time to say that in English.
Yeah,
Um,
it seems like they're
it's
complementary.
like, yeah, that's the word, complementary. Um, like for an example, I filmed a mountain in February, and that mountain had like a big impact on me. I don't know why. I ended up filming that mountain like for 100 times, and I wrote a lot of texts about it. So in the film, it could be that you see an image of this mountain, and the text is from December. There is like these time gaps.
Mhm.
Mostly, it's somehow related to the image, but also the text should mostly the text say a lot more about like the off space, the thing I cannot frame into the image, because I wanted to like um, I want to have a bigger image, so I needed the text. Sometimes I was not like the lens was going like this way, and I was looking into the other way, and I was describing what I see on the other
Uh,
side. So I wanted
yeah,
to
yeah,
yeah, thematize that off space, also with the sound as well, I think.
yeah. So I'd love to talk about the sound.
Yeah.
So you use a lot of ambient sound, a lot of, you know, a lot of the film that, I mean, a lot of the sound that would typically be cut away, or you change the soundtrack or put something else under it if you were making a standard film, you're keeping all that
Mhm.
ambient sound, you're keeping all of that. And then at other times, there's music, and or other sounds that you've obviously produced, again very complementary to what we're seeing. So
Mhm.
can you maybe talk about your process for deciding what sounds to include, and what to add?
Um, the the whole like I had I had like a few rules to making this film, because I knew that I will produce a lot if I don't have some rules. And for the images, I had that rule that I bring just one 30-meter film, which is like 2 minutes or something, and or I use like very small SD cards. So so I make like 2 or 3 minutes images a day, and then also I was I had the rule that I won't edit anything. There is like no actual editing in the length of an image. I used these images like building blocks. I knew when I film something, I have to pay attention on the length. I just had to. I needed a feeling for a length. When I finished the recording, I knew I will end up with 2 minutes of a lake, which I have to use. I have to use these 2 minutes. If not, I just throw it away. And with the sound, it was clear for me that I will try to use all of the original sounds. So sometimes when I filmed something and I realized, oh, this image needs music, I just put my iPhone on the camera microphone, and yeah, I gave some music to the image. Um, and then there are a lot of external ambient sounds I also made to like bring everything together.
So by limiting the footage that you're using, you're also kind of repeating that theme of that the fleeting nature of vision, right? Your own
Hmm.
perception of that fleeting nature. Um, I also there were subtle hints of maybe the fleeting nature of our environment, and there were little signs of kind of environmental degradation. There's a scene where you see this beautiful mountainside, and then you see this place where the trees something's happened, and the trees are
Hmm.
kind of is that intentional to kind of explore a little bit, maybe a little bit of our loss of the quality of our environment?
Um, I was I, I was asked that a few times, um, and the thing in Switzerland is like we don't have um, nature in a way that this word would fit for me, because when I film, um, also a rule was that I just film everything which is reachable by foot. I just walked, and I just walked from my house, or when I was like, I don't know, in a place in the mountains, I just walked from my house. And I think that's the reason you see a lot of nature which is uh, deconstructed by humans, because I was not able to walk into like real like to places where no human impact is. But that's also in Switzerland, you don't find places where there is no impact from humans. We don't have like nature in
Pure,
that way.
yeah.
So like the pure nature, but yeah.
I want to go back to that. There was the so there are several places where you have this circle that's placed right in the middle
Yeah.
of what we're seeing, and sometimes that's just a dark black circle. Sometimes it's this
Hmm.
incredibly subtle circle that is barely discernible from what's surrounding it. And I was wondering if you could just tell
Yeah.
me a little bit about that. Maybe like I was kind of thinking macular degeneration. If you're thinking about blindness, there's macular degeneration where you're losing your central vision. And
Yeah. Um, I had that, like I have for like 6 years ago, my CNR, my, oh, what's the name for that? Like the thing which connects the eye with the brain. CNR.
the
I don't know the English word for that.
is it optic
Sorry?
nerve? The optic nerve?
Yeah, the
Okay.
optic nerve was like a, there was a small amount of that optic nerve on my eye was detached.
Oh wow.
I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know why, and I had that like point in the middle of my eye, and yeah, it was like a, a barriere, like just in the middle of it.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point while filming, there was dust in the middle of the camera lens,
Hmm.
which made a very small circle. And the next time I was filming, I brought like a black sticker and I put it on the lens. And this thing happened with that circle, and it reminded me a lot of that um, optic nerve problem I had. And also when I was observing landscapes, sometimes I'm not, I feel that I'm not, I can't really connect with the landscapes because my own like fears, or I just think about something and then I have like an empty look on my surroundings, and I was aware of that empty look. Maybe sometimes I was hungry and I ended up thinking about eating something, and I was in front of a nice landscape, and I realized constantly I'm not able to really connect with my surroundings. And that point became like a big metaphor for the whole film, like for losing visions, but it also can can mean a lot of things which I'm not aware of. For me, it has a personal idea, like the thing which happened with the optical nerves, but also my
Some
my
self-imposed.
my yeah.
Uh-huh.
Hmm. Yeah.
That's so interesting. Um, so there's also strobing. And can you talk a little bit about the strobing that we see?
Hmm. Um, yeah. Firstly, I think I have a very naive fascination about strobing, um, but also I brought some cameras where I was able to like like the eyelids. I was able to, the ND filters you can put on and off, and I started working with these ND filters, and I use them to make stroboscopic effects, but mainly because I really liked the sound it made, like
Yeah.
that clicky ND sound. And it also is connected to vision as well. And I was just like naively uh, working with these ND filters. Um, Also, I used a bicycle, like public bicycles we could use here. We can we can pay an amount of money and then we can use these bicycles. And sometimes I used them, and when I they have like a mechanical light on it, and when I um, drove with it, it made a stroboscopic effect as well. So I started playing with these uh, bicycles, and like for the ending of the film, I had a broken camera, and I really don't know what is wrong with that camera, but it just produces stroboscopic effects. It I can't do anything else with it anymore. And yeah, that was a big partner as well. That stroboscopic small DV camera, um, which has some problems with the lens, the eye as well. I think I was just very aware of faulty technical aspects, but also like on my eye as well. I also used some scans of my eye. There are two images in the film where you can see the scans of my eye,
And the nerve. Yeah. Yeah.
and the nerve as well.
Yeah. I love this idea of taking the things that are broken or perceived to be broken and putting those
Mm-hmm.
front and center. Another thing that I was wondering, not sure if this was a conscious thing or not, but water in its different forms. So we see water flowing in one part, we see fog, we see snow, we see. So I'm just curious if that was kind of a conscious thing, or and how that plays in with your perception.
Mhm. Um, I tried to find a lot of metaphors for the eye in nature. I ended up with a lot of like water because the eye is filled with it.
Yeah.
Um, I think that was a reason, but it's also because I worked in a very in a improvisational way. I um I think I'm just very attracted to water, to weather, to weather changes, to fog. It yeah. I think it's that also to do with that. I think a major inspiration for this film, but you won't see that anymore, was a book called The Peregrine by John Alec Baker. He was an ornithologist, and he made uh, like a diary book somehow where he follows a pair of peregrines from October to April, and he watches them like yeah, he just watches them on. And I started with that idea, not documenting birds, but just documenting my surroundings and film whatever attracts me with no intention to make a story or whatever. I just document. I'm just in a, yeah, random. I just film random things, and these random things are not that random. I'm really attracted to a few images. I learned a lot about me because there is not a big variety of images. There are mostly darkish images in that certain way. I did not film a lot of other stuff.
Um, what about, are there any other influences? Are there any other filmmakers who you find influential, other books, other.
Um, yeah, I think because of the diary form, Jonas Mekas was a big inspiration. Also, like these text-based things, um, and there was there is like a text which I read like a mantra, and it's a text about amateur filmmaking by Maya Deren, and I think yeah, it's just a very it's it's a text which I need because during film studies, um, the film school, which was all about professionalizing my work, I lost a lot of that naive filmmaking which I had as a child. As a child, I did the same thing. I just did go out there and I just filmed whatever attracted me and whatever I want to like hold on, and I did not want to lose it. And while film school, when everything was about like bigger crews, concepts, and professionalizing, that text became a very helpful thing for me. And I don't know what else. Ben Rivers is a name which I drop all the time because I just love what he does. Yeah.
Um, Is there anything else that you want to say about the film, or some about your process that you think it would be helpful for viewers to know?
I maybe it's a very abstract idea, but because it's a film, it's also like a film about walking somehow.
Mm-hmm.
And in the film, I try to like that walking process where I walk and I pay attention and I try to find a next image. Um, these are these black blocks in the film. There are a lot of black spots where there are no images, but you hear me like installing the camera, installing a tripod, and these unused spaces are the movement somehow, the movement from one to another image. Um, maybe it's nice to know that. I don't know. Maybe it's something which I could.
Well,
Yeah.
I um I think it's just a stunning film. It's really beautiful. I can't wait to see
Thank
it
you.
on the big screen. I love so often I felt like I was watching a painting in motion. The noise, of the camera noise actually created this kind of churning, um, painterly feeling, somehow that I am really looking forward to seeing what that looks like on a bigger screen. Um,
What I could say is that the title right now has still it's still the same. After making this film, I'm not that afraid anymore.
yeah,
It was like a self-healing process somehow. Maybe that's something to say.
yeah,
It's a bit gone.
yeah, yeah. Um, and I'm so glad that the Ann Arbor Film Festival is remote now as well. It's a hybrid, so
Mm-hmm.
so many more people from all over the world can attend this festival, and I'm so glad that I hope that you'll at least be able to be there, um, in that way, and we're
Mm-hmm.
looking forward to seeing it at the
Cool.
festival. Thank you so much for your time and your film.
Thank you too. Yeah, thanks.